Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, Doc and Prof discuss some of the major topics surrounding last week's drafts, as well as round two, ready, fight for the NBA playoffs. Also, gaming news, including more information released for Borderlands 3 and
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to another fine edition of the Debate Amongst Friends. Happy May 2019 for all you. It's May 1st, 2019, and we have a lot of news. We have news, we got predictions, we got reads, we got reactions. We are Debate Amongst Friends. I am your moderator, the Professor John Guy, and always by my side. Well,
uh-oh, uh-oh.
my client, the reigning, defending, undisputed podcast champion that told them to look at the left, but they forgot about the right as he stabs down the Night King himself, Doc! That data analyzing beast, Lesnar! How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. I have personally slayed the Night King myself with a little needle, and I am feeling good. Hashtag spoiler.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, at this point, everyone should know what the spoilers are, so if you don't
You
know, I
know,
mean, what the heck is wrong with you?
I guess that's the one thing I like about sports. I mean, you either watch it or you didn't. I mean, some people do go and, videotape the game and try to avoid watching it or hearing about it, but it's like, dude, just forget it. If you missed it, you missed it. It's ridiculous. But I mean, with Game of Thrones, I mean, wow, spoilers were out immediately.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Immediately. I mean, I don't even think I got a chance to see the credits before, people are already talking about it. But luckily in this household, we don't really check our phones until after the show.
I mean, that because the hype was real, dot dot dot, bro.
Bro, absolutely. But we got a jam-packed show. We don't want to talk about Game of Thrones. I mean, even though this particular weekend was all about really discovering your passion, which I mean, here at Debate Amongst Friends, we're passionate about you, the fans. And we want to hear from you on our social media platforms, of course, on Instagram at TL Devil for myself and at the Professor John A. Gotti. Please follow us on Twitter at Debate Amongst Fra, on Instagram, Debate Amongst Friends, as well as Facebook group and our page at Debate Amongst Friends. We definitely look forward to hearing from you, and we're going to continue to bring you great entertainment.
Absolutely. Just to piggyback on that, make sure you hit like, subscribe, join our notification squad on our YouTube channel as well too. At Debate Amongst Friends, just put it into the search box and you'll be able to find us.
Pound that subscribe button. Pound it.
I mean, dare I say, elbow drop that subscribe button.
I
Elbow drop
mean,
the subscribe button and give it a rolling knee drop to that notification button.
speaking of knee drops, though, I mean, once my knee is healed, I think I'm going to start doing running knee moves.
So what you're saying is you're gonna turn into Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more Shinsuke.
Knee to face?
Yeah, I'm going to use it more. Once I get it back, I'm going to use it more.
I can't wait. Doc's gonna come back stronger, faster, and for all those who care, he'll become a 60-minute times three man.
And no matter what, no matter what, I'll continue to strut.
I knew he was gonna use that line. I knew it. I knew it. As soon as she said it before the show, I'm like, he's gonna use that like immediately during the show.
I had to. I'm sorry. It's so great. I can't
Oh
believe
my
I.
gosh. I'm
Let's jump in
so
here, man. I
disappointed.
mean, we had the
Yes.
NFL draft. It was at first pretty lackluster. I mean, it was a defensive draft. I think we peeped that immediately. But the offensive people that went caused a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but the all of the offensive people that went for the most part caused not headache for everyone, but some people found it to be a little disheartening.
Very disheartening. And we're talking about one franchise in particular, actually. And we're
I
talking
mean,
about those
New
New
York
York
football
football giants.
giants, who really, I mean, look like the little giants now after their fans are posting all kinds of videos and pictures of confused faces. But let's talk
Ah.
about it. I mean, Daniel Jones is not that bad of a pick. He's not that bad.
Oh, you wanted
I
me to
understand.
comment on that? I mean, I don't know what to say here. I mean,
Yeah, he's not. I think that one person said, "Who is Daniel Jones?" Like I've never heard of him until tonight, and I said, in all honesty, with that logic, a lot of people didn't hear about Joe Flacco until he
yep.
was drafted. You know what I mean? I know I didn't hear about Patrick Mahomes until he was drafted.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, the report says, and we talked about reports, and we don't know if this is facts, but it sounds like something that could have made the Giants just say, you know what, forget it, let's take Daniel Jones. The report says that the Broncos are going to take him at number 10.
I don't believe it.
You want to know why I believe it? Because they traded out of that pick. That's the only reason I believe it. Now, if the Broncos would have called the Bucks and said, "Hey, we'll give you, everything that you want, whatever they wanted to trade up to 5 to take Daniel Jones," sure. Then obviously, whatever. But I mean, John Elway was like, "Listen, we're not going to trade up to get Daniel Jones. If he falls to us at 10, we take him." But think about it. The report said that the Broncos are going to take him at 10, and if the Broncos didn't take him at 10, the Redskins would have took him at 15.
I don't know. That's projecting a lot right there.
It is.
Like
It's a lie. It
that
is.
is a lot.
But you think about it, the Redskins really lucked out. I mean, we're going to talk about this Giants, but the Redskins really lucked out to have, their who I thought was the number one quarterback in the draft, really until Kyler Murray goes and beats Alabama. I thought Dwayne Haskins was the number one quarterback in the draft. I just think that he has a poise about him, not because he's a black quarterback, but ultimately I feel like he's a gamer and a winner. And
Yes.
those other two, although I like Kyler Murray, I feel like it's starting to get a little copycatish. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna do what Russell Wilson can do,
No.
even though I expect that the
Wait, wait,
Cardinals
wait,
will want.
wait. Hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna give you a big applause right there. First try.
First try.
First try.
Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Nobody can do what he does, and I feel like they're. I think the Cardinals want Kyler Murray to create that Wilson, Mahomes feel. When in reality, they probably should have gave Rosen a little bit more time.
He
But I
only had 1 year.
understand.
Like less than a
Yeah,
year, in fact, because he got hurt.
and I think Rosen with the Dolphins is going to be awesome because they're gonna have Fitzpatrick, who
Hmm.
unfortunately ate a lot of cake in the off season.
I mean,
Apparently,
at least he wasn't eating those W's.
oh God, oh, I can't believe you said that. Unless he was eating White Castle.
Ah, wait, wait, come on, man. We can't talk smack about White House. That's our place, man.
Okay,
Come on, why
I
we
mean, it
need
might
to
have
do
been what
that? I
it
mean,
might have been what.
they might pay us one day. We can't be slandering them like that.
Well, if that's the case, then it might have been what he craved.
Dang it.
But I think that they should have kept Rosen and gave him a little bit more time. Maybe drafted somebody different. And put the pressure on everybody else. But I mean, my thing was, if I'm the Giants, do I take David Jones or Daniel Jones? I don't think so.
I still feel like their pick was more out of being paranoid.
That the
Like,
quarterbacks have gone.
yes, because everything was pointing to them getting Haskins.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything was pointing to that.
Yeah.
So, since we want to talk about reports,
Mm-hmm.
how much we can actually trust it as far as we could throw it. Yes,
Right.
we had that report which talked about the Broncos trying to get Mr. Jones at number
Mm-hmm.
10, but then there's also a report about a certain football family having such high influence
Of course.
towards Mr. Jones being drafted. And that family's last name is Manning.
That is yes, that is a report, which I believe that. Now my thing
So,
is,
I mean, if we want to look at the reports and take it as facts, like people at First Take likes to do, because they just talk about the most dumbest thing in the world, that the Mannings influenced the front office of the New York Football Giants to pick Daniel Jones, who will apparently be groomed to take over for Eli within the next 2 years.
I
Because
mean,
of
here's
course other reports, I mean, because we're having reports upon reports, this is totally meta, ladies and gentlemen,
of course.
are saying that Eli feel like he has 2 more years left,
Mm, that's
and
what
I'm
they
like,
hope.
2 more years of what? Throwing more
Yeah, that's
picks?
what they hope.
I mean, you don't
Mm-mm-mm.
have Odell Beckham Jr. anymore. Who do you have?
You know who they have? Sterling. They have. I don't know who else to have after that.
Thank you, thank you.
But here's the thing though, and I don't know if maybe it's because Eli won the previous establishment Super Bowls. But my thing is, this is a new GM. This is a new, coach. I feel it almost seems like the head coach doesn't have any say because whenever they show pictures, it's always Gettleman and
Yep,
Mara.
yep.
I never seen a picture or a video of the head coach and the GM together. It's always the GM and the owner. So I wonder if the head coach has any say in this because maybe he wanted somebody different.
And
Um,
he probably wanted Dwayne Haskins, for all we know.
Has- Haskins to me just seemed like the better prospect. I feel
Yes.
like Washington got the second coming of Doug Williams out there.
Like,
And hmm,
immediately, and as much as I like the trash first take, Max Kellerman said it best.
mhm,
This pick is going to haunt the New York Football Giants for the next decade.
right.
Decade. We're talking about a Jersey boy who grew up watching the Giants, loved the Giants as the team,
Hmm.
and y'all disrespect him like that. No, you don't do that. That's almost as
Um,
bad as saying the fix is in. You don't do that.
unless he becomes a great player,
Talk about
then
Daniel
all is
Jones.
forgotten. Yeah, if he becomes a great player, then all is forgotten.
I feel like the only way he'll become a great player is if they end up getting a outstanding defense to complement him.
Without question.
Because if
Without
we're
question.
talking, him being on the same level as like an Aaron Rodgers, who didn't have an elite defense, then I'm just gonna laugh in someone's face if they say that.
Yeah, and I don't think the Giants have it. There's no question about that. But I mean, if I had to pick a winner of
Mm-hmm.
round one, I mean, obviously the Giants did okay. I wouldn't say that they were a complete loser. They did okay. I didn't think that their second first round pick was that good. As my brother said, not only did they pick this quarterback as the first pick, but then the second pick they picked a defensive lineman who really isn't known for his pass rushing ability. He's really known for his run stopping ability, which I believe my brother said they had already. So he was questioning that pick. But then the Giants, to make up, and I think this is something you pointed out, to make up for their first two blunders, they traded back into the first round
Yep.
and took the top corner in the draft, which was supposed to make up for those other two blunders.
No,
But I don't
it
I don't
doesn't.
think it was smart though.
It
I didn't say
doesn't.
it did. I didn't say it did. I said they tried to. Big time try. Huge try. Swinging for the fences. But it's a fly out basically. I mean, but if I had to choose a team that I think really won the first round, I mean, it would be the Redskins.
Yeah.
I think them getting Dwayne Haskins, without having to really move up in the draft, and then trading back in and getting Montez Sweat,
Mm-hmm.
who was dropping down people's draft boards left and right. I felt like they did a good job.
I can agree with you. Um, I mean, I was actually kind of surprised with ah shoot, what the heck team was it?
Who they draft?
Oh, the Falcons.
The Falcons, what drafting?
Chris Lindstrom.
Yeah, that was kind of. I thought that was lackluster, even though he was one of the better
But
linemen. I thought
yeah, but it didn't have as much fanfare.
it didn't. It was again every time a team took an offensive player outside of Haskins, it was like, offense. He was like, but it was so defensive heavy, that you looked around, you're like, okay, they got all these wide receivers, and it was so defensive heavy to a point where it was just linemen and linebackers because a corner wasn't taken until the 20s.
This is true.
But I also think that when offensive players did start getting drafted, it just really started to shape certain teams, like the Ravens, picking up Hollywood as well as another receiver in the later rounds. I think there are going to be some teams that are really good, and you can see clearly and intentionally that I'm
Mm-hmm.
skipping the Bucks because I really
Oh, I
don't
was gonna ask you
know.
about that, but I felt
Yeah,
like the fact that you didn't even start
yeah.
off with your team, or
I
even talk
didn't,
about your team whatsoever. Like I
because
wasn't
I'm
gonna
not.
try to. I wasn't gonna sit here and pull the band-aid off.
I mean, because I'm not 100% sure. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. I really don't know. It's tough because I really, really don't know what to expect. I mean, we drafted what, four defensive backs, um, and I don't know. I can't tell you. It stinks because I really wanted us to have a good draft. I really wanted us to trade and get more picks. But once I saw us draft a kicker, um, again, even though it was later on in the draft, I think that ultimately, made me just a little sick, just a little bit. Um,
About to. Oh no! Wait! No! What's gonna go there?
just a little sick. But
I can't
you
believe you
know,
said that. Like
again,
you know what I'm gonna do if you start talking about that story again.
but you know, again,
I would say
just similar
the biggest surprise though was the receivers, like how soon or how late they got
how late.
drafted. Yes.
And remember all the talk about DK Metcalf going into
Yeah.
first. Oh my God.
He went second round.
Yeah, it was like, oh, he's gonna be a top five pick, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, top 10 pick, no, no, top 15, no. But again, I can understand the Ravens. taking Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
It made perfect sense, and I'm glad they got him.
I mean, he's no Holly. Woo!
But he's close to it, and I'll give him his credit. He's really close. But honestly, the draft was good. I enjoyed it. The trades were going. Only thing I didn't like was that the Bucks took the kicker, and we could have drafted Mac Wilson, the linebacker out of Alabama,
Yep.
in the fifth round, which I would have been completely happy with. But for some reason, we like to draft these kickers who have all these awards, um, and rely heavily on those rewards. So, you know, whatever. But yeah, that's my take on the draft. I mean, ultimately, I think outside of Jones, and of course, who the Cardinals going to pick? Of course, Rosen was traded the next day. Um, Giants fans went crazy. I think the draft was pretty successful. I
Yeah.
will say there was some pretty hilarious takes of people calling the picks. Some people went a little heel out there, a little too far with some picks. But ultimately they were good announcers.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about too.
I mean, I was like, what the heck is going on out here? But it was good. It was a good draft. Very, very good draft. And I'm looking forward to, the off season. I know that's typically when we take our break. So, keep tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, as we will be finishing and wrapping up our season at the basketball season's end.
Mm.
Which, I mean, speaking of basketball, I mean, it could be time to jump on in to round two. Fight.
Uh,
Don't do
so
that.
I don't know why. I don't know when. But apparently, the NBA playoffs has started to be more about where does a shooter land. We're,
Oh,
we're, we're over
man.
here talking about the top eight, the elite eight of the NBA, and we're talking about shooters' landing spots.
I mean, you think about it for the Game of Thrones watchers, they're talking about King's Landing. The Giants fans are talking about Daniel Jones landing. The NBA playoffs is all about where the shooters are landing. And as a Rockets fan, I mean, it made me not want to watch the game because it did. Um, and I think I mentioned it to you off the stream. They also went into data that showed that the Warriors were getting more calls in certain teams. It was getting ridiculous. And game one was just ridiculous. I will say it's getting out of hand, and I'm sure they're going to have to address it in the offseason. But the bottom line is the Rockets are down 0-2. That's the bottom line.
Hmm.
And there's nothing, I can say about it that'll make it feel better or make myself feel better, because that's just what it is. I know the first game, it happened, Second game, I didn't even watch yesterday because like once I saw James Harden, they said he got poked in the eye and he wasn't coming back. I was like, ugh. And then he comes back. I see that he scores 29 points, but then I see pictures of his eye and I'm just like, ugh, ugh. But ultimately, the Warriors have a formula right now that's working. Will the Rockets lay down and die? I don't know. I read a story that said that Clint Capella is just not doing it for them right now.
Hmm.
When I watched,
They're talking
I
about
had,
starting Austin Rivers in his place.
which is crazy. I don't even know how that's gonna work, but yeah, I saw Nene out there, which is crazy, because Nene gave up the last three to Curry, which, of course, if you, I watched that last sequence And of course, there should have been a foul called on Draymond Green, and I guess that's the first, the first game. That's what everybody's talking about. And then Chris Paul gets, ejected after, complaining about getting pushed out of bounds. But ultimately, we had a chance to win the game, or at least tie the game. We blew it. Go on to the next game. Again, Harden's injury. We were still in the game. The one thing I will give credit for, and this is something that I've said all season, is that this particular Rockets team continues to fight. I don't really see us get blown out very often. Defensively, we've definitely stepped it up. We just right now we need to dig deep and pull it together and try to win these next two games at home.
Gonna have to.
Yeah,
The
or
last thing you
it's
want to do is be down 3-1 heading back to Golden State.
unless that's the narrative that the NBA is trying to portray.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quickly. So
Yeah.
apparently, and I want to get your thoughts about this. I don't know if you had a chance to watch this video clip, but Tracy McGrady was talking about the referees were trying everything in their power to
hmm
give the Rockets game two.
I don't know. See, that's how I felt about the Jazz game. I felt like they were trying to give them game four, no, game three. I felt like they were trying to give them game three um, up until the last part of the game. And then they said, okay, we'll stop cheating now.
The referees have been getting way more media. They've been getting so much media attention. It's actually starting to become more of a meme. Like it's that much of a problem now. You know. Did we lose Doc?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Oh, now we can.
Uh, I was saying when you make so many mistakes and then you admit to making mistakes.
Well, my problem is, and I know we didn't talk about game one in much details, but my problem was the fact that they said that they made a mistake at halftime,
Right, but then they continue to make the same
but
mistakes in
then
the second
made
half.
the same. Well, and it's yes and no. So
Yes,
yes, they were
more
still
yes,
missing. They were still blowing some calls, but at the same time, now the Rockets, being frustrated, started to flail their shots a lot more.
of course. Of course. I didn't see, again, I didn't watch the third quarter of the game. I really didn't watch the first half of the game. Actually, I just watched the fourth quarter, which where I really saw fouls. I mean, I saw some of the clips of fouls in the first game in
Mm-hmm.
the first half. But the second half, with 9 minutes to go, I will tell you that the refs were just not good. And you know me, I'm
But
usually pretty honest. I think it was on both sides.
well,
Uh,
yes, and it is on both sides, but it goes back to my point. It's been this way all year.
yeah,
It's been
but it's
this
supposed to be
way
different.
all year.
Different in the playoffs, though. It's supposed to be different, and that's the
I,
problem. It's supposed
I,
to be
I think
different.
I think the issue is the fact that it's been so perceived that it's going to be different in the playoffs that now we're expecting it to be, these referees to hold their whistle a lot longer. But when violations are actually being committed on the floor and they're not blowing the whistle, now we're up in arms about it. The problem
Well,
is there's a
no,
lack of consistency.
it's big time like this is, and I don't think it's that part. Not only is it when there's an act that they're missing it or they're being oversensitive. The problem is some people, and I'm not talking about stars. Some instances, people are getting fouled, and you see that replay, and you're just like, that was not a foul at all.
Yes, but the problem is, and who was the referee for game two that they kept talking about? Was it Struthers?
I think it was Scott Foster.
It was Scott Foster. They was like, yeah, you can't even try to argue with Scott Foster because he'll slap a T on you so fast, like your head will probably flip, like you'll get straight up whiplash, like it's ridiculous.
Right. And who wants that? I mean, who wants that? So it's like to me, I always, we're always taught not to leave the game in the referee's hand. And that's just something that they're going to have to live with and play with, and ultimately it stinks because You probably wasted one of Eric Gordon's best games of the series in this loss of game one.
Mm-hmm.
And then game two, James Harden goes down with an eye injury, even though they said it's not serious. But I mean, anytime you get hit in the face, I mean, to me, it's always serious. He looked pretty rough out there.
Well, I mean, it was a. I think game two was way more physical than game one.
Hmm.
Thus we had the you know eye issue with James Harden, which now people were laughing about because there's like, oh, well, his eye doesn't hurt on offense, but he has covered his eye on defense.
I wouldn't be surprised if Draymond Green gets ejected in game three. Just, just,
Eh.
just remember, just remember that I said that. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets ejected in game three, just because nothing serious. He just gets ejected for no reason.
Well, I mean, it might happen actually.
Yeah, that's just the way I
Yeah,
feel. I feel
it
like he
might
might just
happen.
get
The last thing they want to do is to have someone, to use the doc's term, try to kill the, soon to be two-time back-to-back MVP.
back to back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Wait,
that's
wait,
enough
wait,
of this.
wait. Do you know where I got that from? Like, I know you hear me say that all the time. Whenever someone says back-to-back, do you know where that's from?
Back to back. I thought it was Magic the
It
whole
was
time.
Magic. Yes, it was
Oh
Magic
yeah.
Johnson after he got the back-to-back one when they
I thought
repeated.
you were gonna. I thought you was gonna hit me with something different. I was like, wait a minute. I know we
No,
talked.
but I know I said it for so long that like I'm
Yeah.
like, do you know where I got that from? Like I feel like
No.
I need to add some context to this.
No. No. I thought you. Thought you were about to throw a curveball though. Like
I would never
no.
I
It
would
was my.
never throw a
It's
curveball.
like
I
no. It
would
was my
never
nephew.
throw a curveball like saying like, the Houston Rockets, if they don't get it together in game 3 is going to get swept. See, that'd be a curveball. But I
That's
know they're going to
ridiculous.
win I know they're going to win a game at home.
Oh yeah, I don't think they're gonna die out. I hope they don't. I mean, the season's been so good. I hope they don't die out. But I mean, this is pretty much what they're built for. Honestly, I could see if we do lose and Clint Capella doesn't get it together, I could see us move on from him, which would stink because we just re-signed him. But you know how
I
fast
know.
the NBA is. Especially if we can try to make a package deal for Anthony Davis, because that's what the story would be. But anywho, we had some other series. Can I say the East is making it interesting?
That they are.
They're making it very interesting. Can I say how shocked I was that the Celtics took game one of that series
No, I
against?
felt like the Celtics had a chip on their shoulder because a lot of people kept saying that they're going to get swept. They were saying
I
that
don't
the
know.
team wasn't. Hold on. This is just for game one. I'll get to game two in a second.
Yeah.
That they was going to get
Uh,
swept. That Kyrie's
mm-mm.
on his way out the door. That everyone
Wow.
hates Kyrie. It's like the show Everyone Hates Chris, but everyone hates
Wow.
Kyrie.
Wow.
He's going to the Lakers apparently.
Mm-mm.
These are all these, reports on your friendly ESPNs and Undisputeds that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. So that was
Wow.
game one. So they punched him in the face game one.
They did.
Game two, mm, this is why Giannis Antetokounmpo is a special player, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he didn't have a great offensive game. So rather than, pull a person that I'm going to talk about in my final thought tonight,
Uh-oh.
he went ahead. I mean, he still got 29 points, but like he could have definitely averaged more, like based off his shot chart.
Mm-hmm.
He dominated the game on the defensive end. He was so active, it was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like he was everywhere. You turn look for your shoulder, he's right there. You turn look in the other shoulder, he's right there too. Like you just can't escape him.
Who's
You
that
know,
guy?
Chris Middleton went ballistic for 28 points. Eric Bledsoe, we know what he was gonna do. He came out there with 21 points as well. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this team is the team that we kept saying was consistent throughout the regular season.
Right.
And game two showed this.
Right.
Like, this is the team that we said was going to make it to the finals this year.
We did. I didn't. Now I don't know about the Mavericks. I don't know about the Celtics getting.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I don't know about the Celtics getting swept, but I
But
mean, I
once again,
definitely
it's
think
it's a
that.
lot of people drinking Kool Aid, and they don't put
Yeah,
no
I would have
sugar in it.
never.
Like their
Oh
head is just
God.
is just filled with all that powder inside of it. Like
Uh,
they drink the
uh,
Kool Aid, then they sniff the residue of powder inside the pack.
wow, that's a lot of water.
That's a lot of
Uh,
water.
and it doesn't
It's a
hold
lot
well.
of artificial flavoring. Like that's all I'm trying to say,
Oh
folks.
wow. Yeah, but because I just know that the Bucks are going to win the series. I don't know
Oh,
about getting
absolutely.
swept. Yeah, I never would have agreed to that. But like I said, I feel like the Bucks team, and I said this last week, with the exception of Brooke Lopez and Clint Capella,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the Bucks are built similarly to the Rockets, where everybody can shoot the three, and you have a point guard who can not only shoot the three but can drive the lane. Only difference is, but really between Giannis and James Harden is his ability. Of course, he's bigger, of course, but his ability to get to the rim with more power and force, is what makes him, a top contributor on a team. Of course, he can't shoot the three like James Harden, but he can drive the lane. Again with that power and force that you need out there sometimes.
Well, and I agree
Um,
with you. And I think for me, I just get tired of this notion that it's like, you're not the best player in the world if you can't shoot threes like that.
mm-mm. And I don't think so. I think and that's the thing. The best player, the quote unquote best player in the world, can't shoot the three like that. So that's where it's a caveat. You know what I mean? But then other players who can shoot the three can't dunk, or they can't rebound, or they can't play defense like others that can. You know what I mean? So it just depends, honestly. Did this thing unplug? Yeah, there we go. I was like, what in the world just happened? But ultimately, I think that it's really going to come down to the team dynamic. I don't believe in the likes of Al Horford.
Okay.
I don't think that Jason Tatum has taken that necessary step where he's going to be the guy yet. Next year, maybe. I'm about to say Gordon Ramsay, Lord. Gordon Haywood.
Oh,
Is he
I'm over here like listening to like Gordon Ramsay in my ear, just calling you a donkey because you decided to call him a freaking basketball player.
right? Is Gordon Haywood, the guy that they paid all that money to? Like, or is this his last year? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure, but I know that this Bucks team is special, and I don't think that the Celtics will win with Kyrie because Kyrie needs a different type of team to play. Like him and LeBron were something completely different. The Celtics have a team dynamic that doesn't need Kyrie, and that's why it's been such a tough match with them because they have so much talent. Because that's why when they don't have Kyrie, they play a little better because they're able to play team basketball, which I
Team
knew
basketball.
I knew last year when Gordon Hayward came back, it was going to be weird because they have so many forwards and guards that it's like, who's going to play? And then you pick up Marcus Morris, and you're like, okay, now you got even more talent. So to me, it's like if Kyrie does decide to leave, they won't miss a beat.
Yes.
To
In
me,
fact, I think if when Kyrie leaves,
I said
they'll
this.
become a
I was going.
better team.
I agree. I agree. I hate it, but because for Kyrie's sake, but I agree. But what about the Raptors and the 76ers?
I felt like the Raptors dropped the ball in game 2. I don't
Hmm,
think the Sixers are as good as they're being perceived.
right.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like the Raptors should have won this. I think they're still gonna win this one in five
Okay.
because it's hard. Like they have better shooting, they have better defensive discipline. Like this is just one of those anomaly games.
Kawhi is turning back into his superstar self,
Mm-hmm.
and it's time for people to realize that. Honestly, if he was to stay with the Raptors, I wouldn't even be mad at him. I think him and Siakam could be a tandem to play together for years.
It's so interesting that you said that. So I was reading an article. I don't remember where it was from, but if you hear this and I'm talking about your article, you're welcome. But they was making a comparison of the Raptors using Kawhi and Pascal Siakam and
Uh-huh.
comparing these two to another mighty duo in NBA history. And that duo was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
My brother said that Kawhi was playing like Michael Jordan too. He really did. And I'm gonna be honest with you, and I don't know how realistic this is, but if for some crazy reason the Raptors don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals to play against the Bucks, I believe that in order for them to get to the next level, they're gonna have to drop Kyle Lowry.
I actually agree with you. In fact,
And if
I think Kyle Lowry is the reason why they are not going to make it to an NBA Finals.
and I think if they drop Kyle Lowry, not sure what their cap looks like, but if the Raptors, for some crazy reason,
For some
were
crazy
able
reason.
to pick up Kyrie Irving,
Oh, I mean, then it's over.
it would be ridiculous.
I mean, obviously, we're going to hear more from Drake.
Right. I don't want that part. I wouldn't like that part. Drake. Oh, God. But yes, I agree. I don't think the 76ers are as good. And that's not taken away from Embiid and Butler and those guys, but it was so funny. I saw a meme, I think it was a meme of Stephen A. Smith, and it said, pump fake. If some of the guys on the actual 76ers pump fake, like if Ben Simmons was the pump fake,
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi would just sit there and look at him like, "Are you serious?" Because Ben Simmons ain't shooting no jumpers.
Nope, not at all.
He is not shooting no jumpers. That was so funny. But ultimately, the series is good. That the East is definitely not letting us down. The first year, I'm just gonna say ALBJ after LeBron James. Um, it's not disappointing.
In fact, it's much more exciting without
It is
Mr.
actually.
James. And I
It
know
is.
people are going to get mad. They're going to say that we're haters. But the
Wow.
fact remains, a lot of the Eastern Conference series this year has been better than the Western Conference. The other one that I could say that was much more intriguing were the Spurs, Nuggets, and the Trailblazers
Hmm.
and the Thunder.
Facts. Facts. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it was a good series, and I think that the Trailblazers are gonna bounce back from their game loss. Um, I don't think they'll win the series. I think the Spurs really, like you said, handed the torch to the Nuggets, and I believe that the Nuggets are gonna push it to the limit. I just don't know how far they're gonna go, but ultimately. I think that series is going to be up to at least game six.
Yes.
Nuggets. I think Dame he's been pointing at his wrist, saying that it's his time. And I believe him.
I felt like a lot
But
of people slept on Dame Lillard for a long time. And not only did he shut those critics up, but he also shut
Hmm.
them up too, who were being Westbrook lovers or Westbrook sympathizers from a few years ago.
Sympathizers. Yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely the sympathizers. Mr. Triple Double is going to be working on his jumper all off season long.
Oh, that's the least of his worries.
I mean, hey, he's got to do what he's got to do, right?
I don't
He's got to
know.
do what he's got to do. I
I
mean,
don't
but
know.
I think that
It's
the
it's
main gripe I think people had, and there were one report I saw was saying, imagine how Paul George felt. Like he gave up a chance to go and play, for losing teams, of course.
yep.
But you know, exit is another what first round exit.
Mm-hmm. That's the third
Yeah.
first round exit for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, eventually Westbrook's gonna have to change his playing style. He might just need to he need to switch his gears to more of a pass first point guard.
Hmm.
He might just have to.
See, that's and I'll talk about this right now. So there was a YouTube video, I think it was Andy Hoops that I watched, and it's
Mm,
talking about the fall of Russell Westbrook's stardom.
right.
And one of the things that he was talking about, and I actually completely agree, was it's not the fact that he needs to transition into a pass first point guard that's the issue. The issue is he needs to be smarter, increase his basketball acumen, to use a proper
Hmm.
term, when it comes to shot selection. That's the issue. He throws up way too many shots. And now
Way too many.
and the problem now is people are currently now seeing it, and now they're
Yeah.
being critical despite the fact that he's been doing this since he came into the league, playing alongside with
Right.
Kevin Durant.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. I think at the beginning, I think people were okay with his shots because he was shooting so many mid range. Remember that jumper he used to take
Oh, I
all
know.
the time,
I know.
you know?
And
But
guess what? Guess
he's kind
what?
of shied away from that.
That jumper has went bye bye because he's been throwing up more
Yeah.
threes, thinking that
Uh,
he's a splash brother, but he's really a crash brother.
oh God, like Crash Bandicoot out here. I mean,
Not
my
even Crash
goodness.
Bandicoot, a freaking crash test dummy.
Wow. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that mid range, that little free throw jumper he used to take, it was so beautiful.
It really
And
was.
honestly, and I don't know if this is one of those situations where if he if he didn't change his style, if Durant stays, we don't know. It's a lot of what ifs with the Thunder. But the key of the matter is they got Westbrook, they got Paul George, you got Steven Adams, you got some good talent. It's just not working because, like you're saying, he's throwing up stupid shots, and he needs to go back to being the old Westbrook, the guy that took that mid-range jumper, and it was all good. Don't fall in love with the new NBA where that forces you to shoot threes. Go back to the go back to your game.
I agree.
But let's not talk about the people who aren't in the playoffs. They're bums.
Well, I mean, that was gonna be one of my final thoughts because of course, they got eliminated in the last round. Technically, they were in the playoffs. They're not in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, they're done. They're done, son.
But it just goes to show, like, there's people who's okay with never winning a championship by keeping their same bad habits.
Hmm. And if you want to win, if you want to do something different, you have to be different. You have to think differently. You gotta try a different method. And he's done this the last 2 years, and he's fizzled out of the playoffs with poor shooting percentages.
I agree.
You think about it. I mean, a lot of the teams that have been eliminated, the Raptors, the Rockets, the 76ers, the Celtics, each team has done something different in order to combat how and why they lost the previous year. But I feel like the Thunder, are doing the exact same thing every year. Even if you look at the Trailblazers, they were bounced out of the playoffs year in and year out. But this year they went out and they retooled. They got some guys who can help them with rebounding, that can help them supplement some of the points, not a lot, but some of the points, and it's helped them in the long run. I don't think it's enough to get them a championship, but it's definitely helped them. And we'll see if the Thunder make those adjustments. I mean, that's all we can really do.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for our end of season show where we recap all 32 teams. But I mean, I figured let me get that part out though for our
No,
final
absolutely.
thoughts because like that was just something I was just like people are still saying, well, well, he still averaged a triple double. I'm like, yeah, and he still lost. He lost.
Right. He did.
Like the same thing we were saying in last year's finals. Like he lost. It doesn't matter what he
Without
averaged. He lost.
without
There's
question.
there's no consolation prize for losing.
Nope, not in this world. Or at least not in this NBA world. But yeah, I mean that's the playoffs in a nutshell. I mean, we we uh we got to see tonight. We have the the Nuggets and the Trailblazers playing at 9 o'clock, and these late games, man. Oh my God, I just wish they were earlier. Because I mean, your boy got to get up for work in the morning, and these 9 and 10 o'clock games,
I'm just
I just
saying. I
yeah, I'll be
understand
like,
that.
man, forget it. I'll watch the first half and just hope that I can wake up to a W. But speaking of W's, the gaming community got another W today as more information was leaked on Borderlands 3. I know you're excited.
Well, it's not so
You
much
got
as leaked; it was revealed.
That's what I meant. I meant revealed.
And I
I'm
was like,
sorry.
wait a minute, did it leak
I just wanted to say I just want to say leak. I think I just wanted to say
it?
leak. I meant to say revealed. I think I even wrote down revealed here. But tell the good people what was revealed today for Borderlands 3. Why should we be excited for it? What are you looking forward to the most?
I mean, hey, I'm looking forward to the continuation of the story out
Mm-hmm.
of everything because the story is so vast. It has been going on for such a long time that just wanting to know what happens next. Especially with this new cult, which is the vault cult of the vault children, something like that.
Gotcha.
To find out, what's going on with them, more about our main antagonist, in which we did get some. Um, I don't know what that was. That was interesting. Um, but there was some details revealed about, or at least we got to hear how our main antagonist sounds. But I mean, let's talk about these things. I mean, there was a lot of things that was put out there. I mean, and Doc, I want to get your thoughts about some of these things because I'm gonna drag you back into the world where there ain't no heroes. So the first thing that they displayed during the gameplay demo was a lot of the guns in the game have alternate firing modes. So you would have like a
Hold on. I think there's a noise coming through.
yeah, that's what I'm hearing too.
There it is. It's gone now. That's
All
it.
right.
So,
So a lot of the guns have like an alternative firing mode. So like, let's say you have like a Maliwan gun, and
mhm.
it shoots like shock. Well, the alternative firing mode could shoot something like cryo or fire or something like that.
Okay.
I think like Atlas. Actually, the more cooler ones was Atlas, which the pistol. And I don't know. You remember this movie? But the pistol is a blatant homage to the Fifth Element. It was the
Okay.
scene where the main baddie was showing the main group, the main
Mhm.
bad guy group, the guns, and
Okay.
he basically shot a target, turned around towards the other people and started shooting at them, but the bullets was actually hitting the target that he first shot. So it basically was a
Oh,
tracker.
wow.
So we have that pistol in the game. That was pretty awesome to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds dope.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it sounds pretty dope.
You know how we would play and we would have like marauders who like to hide, especially like during our fight for our life mode, and they'll keep
Right.
dying. Yeah, so we
Mm-hmm.
can actually destroy cover.
Oh, okay.
So we can actually
That's
destroy
dope.
cover. That's another thing.
Yeah, that is
One
good.
of the things I know that you're really interested in about is the action skills can be customized with augments. So you can have three different types of action skills that you can use.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I was really excited to hear that when you said that.
Yes. So there's only two characters that they demoed today. One is I want to say mercenary. I want to say spy. So one of them was the spy character, and the other one is the siren, who's Amara. Now,
Mhm.
Amara is interesting because she is a melee siren character, and you think, oh well, she's melee. She might be something like Zero, or something like Krieg, or something like Brick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with augmentations, she can also do skills that the other sirens in the game does. So she can actually do a phase lock type move, and she
Mm.
can do a phase walk type move.
Hmm.
So you can switch it around. So if you want to fight long range, you can use a phase block. Or if you want to, be able to move a lot faster, you can use a phase walk type of ability.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. And I was mentioning the spy character who, his name is Zane. Zane Flint, actually. He can actually use two action skills simultaneously. So that's going to be interesting, and that's just going to, you know, revamp how you want to actually play.
Mm.
Yes,
That's exciting. That's
I
very
know.
exciting because I don't want to get I'm not trying to die out there. So anytime I can use more skills, I'm with it.
So another thing that they implemented as well, and I think you'll like it because we had these issues when we was playing. There is a optional feature where you can switch the modes into allowing everyone to get the same weapon versus having to either A, deal with loot ninjas. Yeah, I know why you're laughing about that.
Oh yeah.
Or having to basically do the duplication. So this basically replaces the duplication.
So we don't have to do that I'm gonna kill you thing.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Unless you decide to revert it back to classic mode. And this is only in co op, ladies and gentlemen.
Gotcha.
So you can still go through the loot ninjaing, and I don't know if they still have the glitch where you do the trading thing. I think they probably got rid of it, but you can definitely still loot ninja if you decide to use classic mode. You can also throw or basically push or melee elemental barrels around the field too. So
Hmm.
yes, so you can actually move it for a little bit before it actually explodes. If it's standing upright and you just hit it with a melee attack, it'll roll towards the direction that you're meleeing. So that's going to be interesting, and I think as the game progresses, you can actually make it fly into
Okay.
your enemies' faces. Of course, I've mentioned before that slag is no longer going to be part of the game. It's been replaced with radiation, which actually has a neat trick.
Okay.
In which if you kill an enemy that is hit by the radiation, they cause an explosion. So we have the potential of like I don't want to say chain reaction, but like kind of like what Krieg does with the blood explosion chains. Like you have
Mm-hmm.
the potential to do something like that.
Hmm.
So you watch me play Borderlands a lot, and if I go down, especially if there's like an NPC around me, and I'm just like, I can't believe this happened. Like, I'm so mad right now because the person stole my kill, and now I'm about to die and lose all this money. So, what if I
Right.
tell you now that major and background NPCs can revive you in battle?
That's wonderful.
And you can also revive the NPCs as well.
That's even better.
Yes. They got rid of as far as like trying to understand parts and things like that. So the guns and items have item scores to allow you to decide on whether or not to pick it up or not.
Gotcha.
So there's no more, trying to find a double penetrating unkept herald with a Tor grip,
Right.
Malawan's sight kind of thing.
Right. Right.
Because I know
But I mean,
I'm
you enjoyed that though,
I mean, I enjoyed it because it helped me learn more about the game. But I know
right?
you didn't enjoy it so much because we would spend hours grinding.
I mean, hey, it is what it is.
There's so many more bosses in this game. Way
Okay.
more bosses in this game. So we're gonna have a lot to do in this game. A lot. And that's not even including the DLCs that's gonna be coming out too. Like we have a lot of things. There's so many stuff to do. Um oh, the name of the cult is Children of the Vault. Sorry about that. Uh,
Gotcha.
they also have crew challenges, so it's kind of like what we do with like Division Two, where we would do certain challenges in our clan, and we get like extra XP and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sanctuary makes a return, but it's not like how you remember before. Sanctuary is actually now a spaceship, and it's called Sanctuary 3.
Which makes sense.
Well, and you have to also play like the Tales of the Borderlands to understand why is it called that too.
Gotcha.
But of course, like your main players are in Sanctuary, like Ellie, Marcus, Moxie. So I mentioned how the leaders of the Children of the Vault, uh, they made them real specific, and here's why. The two main villains, the two main baddies of this game that we know of course, their names are Tyrene. I think we lost the doc again. Oh no. The names are Tyrene and Troy, and I think that's probably why he jumped off because he was not feeling that name. But um, they they basically have the personalities of live streamers. We're not talking about us, but like those real and the term that they use is the douchiest kind of live streamers. And they basically talk like they're actually live streamers. Keep telling people to follow them, like, obey, and things like that. So yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna lead to a lot of comedic moments. There's already a lot of meta jokes that's happening already in the game. Um, some of which that is already shown there in the demo. I mean, and once the demo comes out, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Um, you also get a customizable quarter, so you actually get your own room in which you can store like your favorite weapons there. I want to say this kind of replaces the bank, but they didn't go into too much detail. Another thing, and this is one that a lot of people got hyped about, was in Sanctuary 3, there is a machine that allows you to recover guns that you lost. So if you lose a gun, let's say it fell off a cliff or it got glitched away or something like that, um, you can actually just get it back in Sanctuary 3. So, thank goodness for small miracles. Another thing that was interesting is Tannis from Borderlands 2, the uh, highly intelligent and very awkward scientist who has great knowledge of the vault and is trying to continually learn more about sirens. She is now your medic. It is no longer Dr. Zed. We don't know what happened to him. Hopefully, we'll find out. And her intro was definitely tennis like. I'm not going to go into too many details. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, we'll probably. I know we definitely put it out there on Gaming Amongst Friends' Facebook page, so make sure you check that out. The vehicles are becoming way more customizable. I mean, it's just more than just color scheme. Like you could change like the weapon. Well, you also have weaponry too, but like there's so much more you could do within there. Of course, one of the newer weapons is a motorbike or a cyclone bike. You can also, and I'm actually kind of upset that the doc isn't back on here, but you could basically pull a GTA and steal enemy vehicles. And if you take it back to one of the categorized systems, Ellie can actually upload it, and it can now be a car for you to use. I want to say that's about it. And of course, we was talking about there is no free to play junk where you have to pay for things. Um, of course, Randy Pitchford said that there is no in-game microtransactions. Hopefully, that is something that stays. I know a lot of people are very happy. I'm astounded about that. And we I guess just wait and see if it'll continue to be that way. But that's about it for Borderlands 3, ladies and gentlemen. See, and just like that, Doc returned back.
Yeah, you know how Chris likes to treat me.
Oh my gosh.
Not you, but just me.
I don't know. Sometimes, Chris, it doesn't even matter.
But I mean, hopefully the people got a chance to hear all the great updates of Borderlands.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hopefully they was completely riveted by it.
I believe they were. I believe they were. So where were we? I mean, are we at Endgame?
We're
Is
at
that where
Endgame.
we are?
Yeah, we're just waiting for you to start on your final thoughts, sir.
All right. So I mean, of course, I lost everything with Chris shutting down my entire computer, but that's okay. The three final thoughts that I had. Number one, last week we talked about Marshawn Lynch potentially retiring. This week, they're saying that the Beast Mode himself would consider a return to Oakland if the Raiders gave him a call and said that they wanted him to return. So keep your eye on that. Jamal
Didn't they
Charles,
just resign Doug Martin?
they probably did, and they drafted, a running back. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, they were moving on without him because he said he was retiring. So of course, he's going to put it all on the Raiders. But I don't know. Maybe we'll keep an eye on that and see
Okay.
what happens. Jamal Charles signs a 1-day contract with the Kansas City Chiefs to retire as a Chief, which is pretty awesome as he played such great football for the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
And lastly, and this is in regards to the draft, I didn't hear about this until maybe Monday or Tuesday. But one of the draft picks of this year's NFL draft was actually involved in a shooting.
Mm.
I don't know if you actually had a
I did
chance to
not
hear
hear
about
about that.
that.
No.
Yeah. So one of the Giants, ironically, the Giants draft picks, Washburn University defensive back, was actually killed in the shooting in Kansas. It says here the player's name is, where is it? Dwayne Simmons was actually shot and killed. Not shortly after the draft, but I think in the same weekend. And it stinks because he was, again, drafted by the New York Giants. And I heard about it actually from um, my actual trainer at the school. and he was actually selected at this year's draft in the sixth round. And it was just so interesting to hear about it. And I didn't, and that's the thing that's crazy. I didn't hear any news about it at all from any outlets. It was my trainer who came up and told me about it, and I was just like, wow. But definitely rest in peace to him, and our prayers are definitely with his family.
Absolutely.
And those are my three final thoughts.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, normally it's me who, ends it with a sour note.
Yeah, no, I had to just put it out there because it was so random and weird.
Well, I guess I'll start with something high.
It,
So there was a article that came out on Forbes, but I'm going to be referencing the Variety.com article, which is talking about how the video game industry can turn into a $300 billion industry by 2025, based off of this report. In
hmm
2018, video games generated about $131 billion, of course, with mobile gaming outpacing it. So,
hmm,
of course, mobile games are the major um, revenue spender or revenue gainer for the gaming industry. With second is PC gaming, with consoles not close behind. And by
gotcha. Can I add
20,
one thing to that?
sure.
Madden is actually returning to PC. So with the stats that you're throwing out, it makes sense that now some of these, big time games are actually returning to PC.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very interesting that you're bringing this topic up.
Apps. I mean, of course, I love talking about game theory, especially if it
Boom.
considers with video games. And that's just not a. But that's just a theory. No, I can't do that. I'll probably get.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. But that was something that was interesting, though. It was something that we talked about in great details when we went to our first evolution, which is a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling our Lyft driver, and you was telling a lot more people about how it's growing so much. And right now we're at $131 billion, and that's only going to increase, which is insane.
Right.
So for all the people who kept laughing at people playing video games as a kid, probably the same ones playing the smart phone games right now.
Right. Right. You're right.
But speaking of controversy, my last final thought, and I posted this one out on Gaming Amongst Friends not too long ago, actually, right before the show, in fact. Which, of course, fans or people, I'm not even going to say fans, I'm not even going to say gamers, like, just people are getting up in arms about certain things in the newest Mortal Kombat title, Mortal Kombat 11.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of them were pretty stupid. People were getting upset because they felt like the female characters are looking ugly. They referenced how Shiva is looking more like a guy, and how a lot of the female
Wow.
characters are being covered. Like, it was just ridiculous. Like, I'm not even gonna take that as a serious take whatsoever. But the one that I wanted to talk about was how people were uh, people are accusing NetherRealm Studios and the developers of Mortal Kombat 11 of promoting white genocide,
Mm,
because in one of the arcade endings for I don't want to say he's a fan favorite, but long-time character Jax, aka Jackson Briggs, had
mm-hmm.
him using the powers that he got from Kronika, which was the main villain who could manipulate time, to go back in time and to uh, basically vanquish the transatlantic slave trade, which of course led to American slavery.
Wow.
So people got really upset
Hmm.
about that. Like, I don't even think I
Wow.
need to say anything more. Like, that by itself is already loaded. And I'm willing to hear
Right.
what everyone else has to say about that. I mean, I know that is like I said, I had a chance to watch all the endings. Like this one was pretty interesting. It's alternate timelines, folks. Like in fact, we all watched Endgame, or at least hopefully everyone watched Endgame. Like it talks
Right.
about multiverses and how an action basically creates a new branch in time. Like stop it,
Mm-hmm.
stop it, relax.
It's not like Back to the Future.
Wow, wow, you over here spoiling the movie for people. Oh my gosh.
I mean, is that a spoiler? I didn't know. I didn't
Yeah, that's
know.
pretty much a spoiler right there.
Is
But
it?
yeah, but that's about it that I have, folks.
Wow, I can't believe that's a
I
spoiler.
know, I can't believe it. I mean, over here spoiling Game of Thrones, you're over here spoiling Avengers Endgame. Terrible. He came here
Hashtag.
ready to do things. You gotta be careful, man. I mean, there was reports of people getting beat up right outside the movie theater for just spoiling Endgame, like right out the line.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if you spoil a game, I mean, if you spoil a movie right out the line, I mean, come on, come on,
I feel like people
can't
have
do that.
way too much time in their hands to beat up someone at the movie theater for a movie that everyone
You
can
know,
read the freaking synopsis and plots on. Let's
yeah,
just stop it.
you know, I think people take things way too
Of
seriously
course, people take things way
overall.
too
So,
seriously.
I mean,
Have you not met people?
oh yeah, I've definitely met him out there. But yeah, I I think we should be safe to give spoilers at this time.
I'm okay with that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Make sure you catch us every single Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. Shout outs to our Periscope folks out there. Make sure if you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, and make sure you give that notification bell a rolling knee drop so you can see all the brand new content that we come out for you, the people. And if you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you like our Debate Amongst Friends Facebook page and group. And you can listen to us offline on
Uh-huh.
iTunes, Google Play Music or Google Podcast, Stitcher, Player FM Radio, and any and all podcast application on your Android or iOS devices. You can follow us at Debate Amongst Friends on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Debate Amongst Fra. You can follow myself at Kin86 on Twitter, Professor John A. Gotti on Instagram. You can follow that podcasting beast, data analyzing beast, Doc Lesnar on Instagram and on Twitter at TL Double. Tonight's track is from the album Dreamland, which is a collaboration album from a group called themselves 14 question mark featuring Cy Star and Faya, which is actually being promoted by Marcus D, who's coming out with a brand new album. And once that album comes out, we'll play a track for you because Marcus D is that dude. And
Hmm.
make sure you always support our artists every single week because I know we support it and they definitely support it. We do not own these tracks, but we're more than happy to promote them. And if you have tracks or local artists that you wish for to promote for you want to promote, we will play that for the show. Just drop us a line anywhere and we'll contact
Boom.
you.
Let us know. Let us know.
Well, if that's all, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Professor John Gotti.
And this is the podcast Beast Doc Lesnar.
And like we always say, goodbye, mwah, and to all, a good night.
Sight Star, Elevation, 14. Come on. Beautiful. Beautiful sunrise, moving like high tide. Watching with strange eyes, looking for white lies. See it from all sides, searching for more time. In the dreams I believe, in these I am alive. Beautiful sunrise, moving like high tide. Watching with strange eyes, looking for white lies. See it from all sides, searching for more time. In the dreams I believe, in these I am alive. Empire for hire, my galaxy is nicer. Please give me a lighter, I'm searching for the viper. In the garden neurotic, losing it cause I like the forbidden fruit handed to me from my pariah. Moving like snowdrifts, falling like sunk ships. So deep in the bullshit, paradise is missed. Kicked out the garden for knowledge, touching the lips. And now I'm touching her hips, it's so solar eclipse. Beautiful sunrise, moving like high tide. Watching with strange eyes, looking for white lies. See it from all sides, searching for more time. In the dreams I believe, in these I am alive. Beautiful sunrise, moving like high tide. Watching with strange eyes, looking for white lies. See it from all sides, searching for more time. In the dreams I believe, in these I am alive.
Beautiful sunrise, one of a lifetime. Words can bring me down for dreaming. Get ready for love, get ready for love. It's strong cause I believe. Beautiful sunrise, part of my dreamland. Rhythm gives me inspiration. Get ready for good, get ready for worlds. I'm good cause I'm a fighter.
Don't cry for us, these are the dips. Maybe just a break, separate fact and myth. Two human beings on a living starship. The natives they call it earth, and life they call a bitch. Striking a chord on a string theory divorce. Come away with me and see my shitty more. Language of the soul, my finger meeting the thorn. Piano over the horn, my voice reaching the Lord. Tongue like a sword with words so paranoid. Only fear is the reason that love is to avoid. Dreams are the things that separate androids from human beings who sing pain straight into the void. Annoyed at the wisdom, embrace the cataclysm. My skin like leather, my soul like good denim. I did it for the love of the art and God rhythm. Just another sinner who yearns to be a new beginner. Go. Beautiful sunrise, moving like high tide. Watching with strange eyes, looking for white lies. See it from all sides, searching for more time. In the dreams I believe, in these I am alive. Beautiful sunrise, moving like high tide. Watching with strange eyes, looking for white lies. See it from all sides, searching for more time. In the dreams I believe, in these I am alive. Follow me from politics, help me anonymous. So monogamous, one life to live, calling it. Fuck parliament, please go call the astrologist and tell them that the moon is becoming red and ominous. Welcome me to elegy, please love, don't let it be so unsettling like nightmares on Elm Streets. To be correct, my dreams never involve sheep, just the wolves in the corner grinning with their sharp teeth.